This is Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Good evening, sports fans. And this is Mike Pettaway coming to you live from Bibbs Downtown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And in the parking lot is Alec Hodges, because he just texted me and said he just pulled in the parking lot. He is our co-host. And
I guess that means I'm getting kicked off the show.
Well, I don't think we have we don't kick people off the show. We just may slide back and forth. But that is Ellen Richardson, who is I would say she is probably responsible for indirectly
the failure of everything possible.
Indirectly for this show tonight, because she introduced Salem College to our sports talk program last summer. I guess it was summer, wasn't it? Sometime last.
Yeah, it was spring, summer, sometime in there. It was starting to get warm outside.
And one thing
I can't keep up anymore.
Led to another, and we started broadcasting the championship-winning soccer team from Coach Jay Callahan, and then we rolled it into basketball coverage with Coach Brittany Money, and we've done. I think our producer did a game too, didn't you, Mr. Baldridge? You did 2 games at Guilford College and home game against Maryville. See, we've got like I was saying, we got a lot of people that help broadcast, but we also have 2 young men that are college interns that are really wanting to do this as a career eventually, and that's Caleb Waters and Parker Southern, and they did a Salem College basketball game last week. They did a Winston-Salem Christian High School basketball game, and we have 2 nights of broadcasting on tap this week. Thursday, we're doing, I think, a boys-only game. It's Surrey County home educators will be coming down to Winston-Salem, and the game will be played at St. Peter's World Outreach over off of Old Lexington Road, because Winston-Salem Christian doesn't have a home gym. They use that facility, and they use College Park Baptist Church, which is over by off Polo and Ronaldo Road. They will be playing Salem Baptist Friday night at College Park, and when Salem Baptist and Winston-Salem Christian get together for anything from needlepoint to racing or whatever, they are a tremendous rivalry build up there, and both the fans and the players really take those games serious when those 2 teams hit the floor. So it's going to be fun to bring those games to you. I believe Mr. Hodges has made it.
I have.
He made it. We're so glad he's here.
The Winston-Salem traffic got the best of me today. I actually left my house probably about 5:45 and got on the road, and as soon as I hit the highway, it was backed up, and it was stop and go maybe 3 feet per minute. So
sounds like Concord Friday night. Oh my gosh!
We were going to Concord for that show. Remember that? And
it
took us 45 minutes to go about 3 miles.
Yeah,
like, we never thought
we'd get there.
Never going to get there. Well, anyway, welcome to the show, Mr. Hodges.
We're so glad to have you back.
Thank you.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Since
you've been
behind a microphone.
It has been a while.
I know you were ill for a while.
Yeah, I was a little under the weather, but
you got over that.
Yeah. And
now you are back up and at 'em.
Yeah, I think it was more. It was like a head cold, and I don't know what it was. I was all congested and just wasn't feeling well. So
goodness gracious.
Well, at least we didn't have to.
Don't pass it on.
You didn't bring it to us.
No.
Sick, so that was a good thing.
I'm good. It was. Got over it pretty quick. It was just took some Advil and some Sudafed and whatnot. So I got over it.
He bucked up.
Have you done anything sports related since I saw you last?
Let's see, no.
I got a trivia question.
Okay.
Where is the Outback track?
The Outback track.
Behind Outback Steakhouse?
Is it in Australia?
No, sir. It is behind or near turn 26 tunnel at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, okay.
I should know that, but I don't.
I was there Saturday. A couple kids from the quarter midget track were testing Bandoleros.
That's cool.
And a couple other people were testing Legends cars.
That's cool.
And I want to give them a shout out. They were very generous to let us come out there and take pictures and kind of be involved. But it was fun to watch these kids who driven a quarter midget car about this long, climb into a bandolero.
See what you're saying, Mike.
And to them, that was probably like going from a Volkswagen to a Cadillac as far as body length and the wheelbase and everything. But the two kids, and I'll write something on the website about it. I won't mention their name, but they were a little hesitant, but once they
got that
when
feel.
they found that you can do this, and the instructor told them where the let-off points were and told them how to roll through the corners, man, they were just blowing by everything.
They picked it up just like that.
So they actually have a winter series they run at Charlotte Motor
They
Speedway, January and February, and I think Triad Sports Coverage is going to possibly be down there to do some of that coverage.
Sweet.
A lot of those kids that are going to be racing are kids that I had met through quarter midgets. So, and I just can't imagine having outdoor racing in January and February. I
think Mike just spoke my language. I'm just going to have to buck up and be in the cold, ain't I?
I guess the weather will be nice. I know it was cold for the fall nationals that we did in November. So
hey, we bucked. It wasn't that bad once I got hot chocolate in me. I was fine.
it was a long day, but it was fun.
I was more worried about the parents.
Yeah. We're always worried about those parents. You want to take a short break, Mr.? Well, let me talk a little bit about today's show before you take a break. Is that okay?
Should tell people what we're going to be talking about.
Because we had started talking earlier about how it's Ellen's. I'm going to say her. It's her reason for this program because
it's
of
Twitter,
her.
people. It's Twitter.
So what we're going to do is once we get through the basketball season at Salem College and at Winston-Salem Christian High School, we're going to broadcast Salem College softball. And their coach is in the audience. He'll be a guest. And he brought one of my all-time favorite players from North Davidson High School, Maggie Fritz. Maggie was at a soccer game when I was covering Salem College, and I hadn't seen her in I don't know how many years, and she was excited to see. And like you said, the Twitter stuff and all the social media, it just got blown out of proportion as soon as she got through talking to me. I'm thinking, oh my gosh! But we're gonna go to a short break. When we come back, we're gonna have. Well, you know what? I think Maggie's not eating. We'll have Maggie come on first.
All right.
You can go out there and
we got to get an athlete on first.
There you go. So we're going to take a minute or so commercial break to pay my producer's salary. And then we'll be back with softball in December in North Carolina.
Hi, this is Miranda McKinney, Athletic Director at Winston-Salem Christian School, and you're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your Bibbs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at BibbsDowntown.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen.
A voice from the past.
The voice from the past, yes.
Wow, this is impressive that I have you on the show.
It's good to be back.
Did you, as your agent cleared this, have you over here tonight? Because I don't want to get any lawsuit involved here.
No, I haven't talked to him in a while, and hopefully he won't get too mad.
Well, we have our first guest in our. This is a great broadcast booth. I mean, this is
great.
This
is
pretty
wonderful.
Cool. And every time she looks at me, she laughs. I never have figured that one out from the time she was in, I think, 8th grade or 9th grade. But it's Maggie Fritz, who is. Just between you and me, she's a pretty good softball player. Okay, she went through North Davidson and played softball.
I don't think we can keep that between us. I mean, I think other people already know that. But
I mean, I was talking to her coach here tonight, and he has great plans for Miss Fritz this spring. So, Maggie, now that I think we talked at the soccer game. You're grown up. You're an adult. You're more. Well, I don't know if you're more. I don't know if you're more mature. Maybe you are. But how is college life for a young lady who I can remember you were?
Oh, goodness. Well, college is great. I'm really enjoying it. You know, Salem College, it's a great place to be. It's really close to home, and the class sizes are great. The professors are great. Athletics are great. They're there to help you. You know, you're definitely getting your money's worth.
Right.
But I'm really enjoying it. So.
You know what's impressive, and I was talking to Melissa Barrett, your athletic director. You have successful athletic teams. I mean, some of them are, you go to national tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of like a secret in Winston-Salem. Not a lot of people know just what goes on at Salem College. And, of course, with the soccer program going to the NCAA tournament, basketball had a 21-5 season. Softball team was very successful. Do you get a sense of of how important athletics are at Salem College?
Yeah, I feel like when you step on, these coaches, they have such high expectations for you because they are so successful. And, you can tell by the way they keep their facilities. Like, our fields are nice, our gyms are nice, and, when you take pride in your facility, it just goes to show you that, hey, you have a successful program, too. I mean, you look nice and you play nice. So, it's definitely, you can tell that they care here at Salem about their sports. And
now, you play at a very successful high school program, obviously, with Coach Mike Lambros, the legend of North Carolina softball.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you grew up with most of those girls, and you knew them. When you go to Salem College, you probably met some new people that maybe you've never seen play softball before. What kind of an adjustment did you have to make when you because, you're up a level. This is college sports. No matter what level of college, you're in an upper level of softball. Did you have to make any adjustments as far as your mentality and how you approach the game?
Yeah, you definitely have to prepare yourself for the pitching because the pitching is very different. People have more spin on the ball. There's faster speeds. And everybody's just more they're more competitive. I feel like in high school it's more, hey, you try out, you make it, that's great. But in college it's like they ask you to be here. You're here for a job. Like, you're here to do your thing. So you definitely have to step it up more in college than you would in high school.
Now, playing in North Davidson, you guys were a dominant team. I mean, if you lost 2 games a year, the world came to
the world. Yeah.
So do the other kids that you play with now, do they know about North Davidson? Do they ask you about Coach Lambros? And is all the things true we hear about Lambros?
Actually, surprisingly, there are people that know, but then the people that are from out of state, they don't know. And then there's people from Greensboro that don't know. And I'm like, that it blows my mind because that's a common name in the world of softball. But it's crazy to know that people don't know who Lambros is. But then again, it's kind of refreshing. So.
Right. So what position are you going to play in college?
Well, I hope to play center field or outfield, just outfield in general, anywhere in the outfield. So.
And you still have that rocket arm from the fence that you can throw to the home plate?
I would like to think so.
And you're all over your injuries and you're 100% healthy and you're ready to go?
Yep. I actually just got released from my knee brace, so I don't have to wear my knee brace when I play softball, which is nice because I felt like it slowed me down a lot. But, yeah, I'm healthy. I feel pretty good. So let's keep it that way.
Did you play in the winter season or what was it, the fall season? Did you play in some of those games?
Yes, we did. I did, yes.
How did you adjust, and how did it feel to be playing with a lot of good players, all good players?
Mm-hmm. It was a big adjustment. It's just, I think the atmosphere is a whole lot different because, hey, these are higher level players. But I didn't do as well as I would have liked. I definitely saw where there was room to improve and where I needed to improve on my game. And it was nice to get a feel for, hey, this is what college ball is like. This is what I need to do in order to be prepared for the spring season. So I think it was a good experience, and I'm glad we did it.
Were you nervous the first time you stepped in the batter's box?
Oh, my gosh.
Facing a college pitcher
yes,
that was going to blow it by you if you weren't paying attention?
Yes, I was terrified. I didn't know really what to expect. I mean, I had a general idea, but I don't know. I was nerve. It was excitement. It was scary. There were just a whole bunch of different emotions going through me, but I liked it.
Was your mom in the stands?
Oh, gosh, yes.
See, that's worth the price of admission to go to a game and have her mom in the stands.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who struggled in my first at bat, or that I was nervous. Because my first college at bat, I was nervous, and I think I ended up going 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 that game with 2 strikeouts. It was bad.
You were the only male on an all-girls softball team.
I know.
You should have been able to.
It's a lot different seeing the ball come from down low, underhand, as opposed to in that 3/4 arm slot.
There you go. So Maggie, how did you choose Salem College? I mean, was it your purpose or your desire to play college softball?
Yes, I definitely knew that I wanted to play college softball. And towards the end of my senior year, I really had no clue where I was going. And everybody else had in their mind, oh, I'm going to Charlotte, I'm going to App, I'm going to Carolina. They all knew. And I was just sitting here like, oh, my goodness, I don't know what I want to do with my life. So Bree Crumley, who went to my high school and was committed to Salem, was there. And, of course, I guess Coach Long was coming to the games. And, I mean, I had a couple other schools that were looking at me. But I went on a tour at Salem, and I met one of the admissions counselors, Jessica Rogers, and it clicked. Like, you knew as soon as you got there and as soon as you met the people and you walked around the campus, you just know. It's like a feeling. You know that's the place you need to be.
Now, it's an all-girls school.
Oh yeah.
Your dorm rooms? They're not very loud, are they?
Oh, they are loud. Those walls are pretty thin. They are loud.
So a bunch of girls running around campus. Wow, that was even in high school. It was going to a softball practice was amazing to me. That all you girls kind of got along.
Yeah.
And played some good softball.
Yeah.
What do you? I know you have a college career ahead of you, but what do you miss about being a high school athlete?
I mean, I'm sure here at Salem it'll be the same, but I miss the North Davidson community. I miss how it was a big deal. I mean, sports at North Davidson were a huge deal. I mean, everybody came to the football games. I mean, the softball games were Friday nights. If you weren't working, you were at a softball game, basketball games. It was just such a big deal, and you knew that like no matter if you lost, you were going to have that support system behind you that was going to be there the next game to cheer you on. It was just the overall community of North Davidson. That's probably what I miss the most.
And that's going to develop at Salem, I'm sure, as you get more familiar with the people. But how is it playing with people from? You have players from far away from North Carolina on your softball.
We have a girl from Florida.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, I know in basketball and soccer, they got kids from Texas, New Jersey, all over the country. And, those players from up north, they talk funny. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah. They got some type of slang in their vocabulary.
And coaches have to learn how to understand y'all and you all.
Mm-hmm. Or you'ns.
Use guys.
Use guys, yeah.
Luckily, we don't have any Red Sox fans listening to our show, so we're okay.
My parents, myself.
That's why I said it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, they're not listening. You have any more questions for one of the best softball players that's come out of North Davidson in a long time?
You said earlier that it is a job. Do you find you find softball or college athletics to be more of a job as opposed to me going out there and playing the sport that I love, and do you also find it to interfere with your academics?
I feel like it should not have to be a job. I feel like if you love the game, you should be there to play the game. And if you look at it as like a task or just something that you need to get done, then you're not there for the right reasons. And I mean, going with academics and sports, there's time in your day to get your work done. It's just you have to sit down and you have to do it, and you have to be headstrong, and you just got to say, look, I got to get this done before practice, or I got to get half this done and then finish the other half at practice. But in some ways, you look at it like a job because you have to like prioritize. But I think that overall, you got to have passion for the game.
You know what they call that?
What?
Growing up, learning how to manage your time, learning how to manage your priorities.
Yeah,
isn't that right, Coach?
I'm telling you.
But see, you're very capable. I'm sure it's going to be fun for you.
Yeah, a wise woman once told me, Maggie, you just got to get your life together. That's what she said. You just got to get your life together, and that is what I'm trying to do.
You're trying to do that, but you've been successful so far.
I would like to think so.
I think you have. It was always a pleasure to go to a softball game, and then I'd see her get hurt, and I'm thinking, man, she has so much potential, and all of a sudden she's on the sideline. And you've been through shoulder injuries in baseball. And
I have.
And it's just, you're doing everything you can the right way, and you're promising career, and all of a sudden something stops.
And it downright just sucks because, you're out of the game. I was out of the game for, over 8 months. I think it was like in my recovery time after my surgery was 6 to 8 months. And then I waited probably about, I would say, a month before I had my surgery. So all in all, 9 months. And it just, it comes to you and you're just like, wow, you get to sit back and actually watch the game happen. And when you sit back and watch it, it feels like it's passing you by. Yeah. And you're getting, behind. And then that's where your physical therapy comes in to come in and at North Carolina Physical Therapy.
Dr. Lee Howard.
And that's where you gain your momentum back, and you start getting strong and rehabbing your injured body part, I guess. And then you start realizing, okay, I can come back from this. And then you get back in the game, and then you pick up right where you left off.
So, Maggie, I know you're going to college to play softball, but you're also going to get an education. Is that correct?
Yes.
So when you really do grow up, what do you want to do with your life?
Well, I want to pursue a degree in psychology, And I think I want to be a high school guidance counselor or a guidance counselor. And
You haven't learned enough from your mother to stay away from the school system?
She tells me every week, every time she gets the chance, don't go into the school system. I feel like it's just something that I can see myself doing for a long time and that I'd enjoy. I'd like to just try.
You ever thought about coaching?
Yes, definitely. That's something I definitely want to do.
Basketball, softball? Or?
Whichever one is open.
Wow. Coach oh, Lord.
Oh, God, bless them all. Bless them all.
So you're looking forward to this. When does your season actually start, your spring softball season?
I think we start practicing January 19th, and we just kind of hit the ground running from there. So it's coming up. It'll be here before I know it.
So you're going to go from extreme cold to be too hot to play by the time the season's over.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember those days in softball season. You bring a blanket for the early games, and then you're sweating to death. Yeah. Well, we're going to take another break. And we're going to let your coach come on, and I'm going to ask him some really tough questions about you.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
We'll be back in just a moment with Coach Scott Long from the Salem Spirits.
Hey, this is Leonard Burton, varsity basketball player from Winston-Salem Christian School. You're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
And we are back here live on Sports Talk, right here on TriadSportsCoverage.com, broadcasting live from Bibbs downtown.
Where the barbecue is not Eastern.
Nor Western.
It's Western.
That is right.
That's one thing we've learned in 2 years coming to this restaurant. We could be the poster children for Bibbs downtown.
We could.
Barbecue with a downtown vibe.
There you go.
There you go. We have in our broadcast now Mr. Scott Long, who is the head softball coach. Salem Spirits, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us out. It's a pleasure to be with you gentlemen tonight, and I can testify that the Bibbs is the best because it is very good. Just had a sampling of it, so if you get an opportunity, definitely come on down and eat some of the barbecue ribs that they have here. It's awesome.
They do have some good food. We're going to talk a little bit of softball. We're right in the middle of basketball season, and I know Alec is a stick and ball fan because you're a baseball player.
Yes.
And we're getting toward that spring where we're going to be outdoors. But Coach Long, how long have you coached at Salem?
Well, we're getting ready to start our fourth year of our program. I started it 3 years ago. Actually, I started it a year before we started competition. I started recruiting that class, which was very, very difficult coming out of the gate when you've already, people have been recruiting young ladies, and you're trying to, convince these young ladies to come be a part of something new. And we had a great starting class. I'm actually getting ready to graduate our first recruiting class, our seniors this year. So it's exciting. It's going to be very emotional too, because these young ladies helped build us to where we are today.
Now, as far as recruiting, do you do your recruiting mostly at these showcase tournaments? How do you find the athletes you're looking for?
There's multiple ways. Number one, we showcase tournaments are a big deal. We pretty much almost every weekend gone to a showcase tournament, whether that be it's locally in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. Go to Atlanta. So that's pretty much that region. I haven't kind of branched out, been down to Florida a time or two, but I personally, I really want to have local young ladies to be a part of our program. I want a family atmosphere. It's very important to me that our players feel like they're a part of a family, and it helps when you have young ladies like Maggie who come from a program that's like that, very family-oriented, community-oriented program. And I want to create that. I want it as all the parents there. I want it wild and exciting, and that's what I want from a Salem softball game when you see it.
I've interviewed your basketball and soccer coaches in the past, and I always ask them, what kind of a young person are you looking for to be a part of the Salem family?
Well, myself, it starts with character. I want young ladies that are going to do right. They're not yelling at their parents, screaming, and have the me, what I call the me complex. It's all about me. I want a good teammate, good family member. And that's one of the things when a young lady commits to come to Salem, I don't say welcome to the team. I say welcome to the family. Mm-hmm. That's very important that they get the experience that they're joining a family, because with a family you're gonna have your ups and downs, and you fight with your brother and your sister. But at the end of the day, if somebody's picking on them, it's everybody rallies the troops. And but I start with character. Character, young ladies doing well in the classroom. If you don't have those two components, it's hard to have a kid that's going to listen to you as a coach. The talent. They might not be the most talented young lady, but there's a huge amount of upside if they're willing to be coached and they have good character. Mm-hmm. They're going to listen to what you ask them to do. So that's one of the places that I start, is what kind of character they have, what kind of grades that they have, and things like that.
When you recruit a player, like I was talking to Coach Callahan about the soccer team where he dresses 30 great young ladies every game, and they all can't play. You're only going to have so many of your young ladies on the field, but you want to have a good unit. How do you deal with a young lady who was a standout at her high school or at her travel team? Really everybody had her eyes on this. She comes to Salem and you say, now this is a family, this is a team. You may or you may not be the number one pitcher. You may or may not bat cleanup. Is that difficult in today's age sometimes to convince these young minds that, hey, this is the beginning of your adult life, you're in college, let's do it the right way from day one?
Well, I might be able to give you a more accurate answer after this year.
Okay.
We started out, I think we had our first year we had like 12, and out of the 12, 9 played travel ball and were very involved with their high school teams, and some that maybe played high school but weren't the quote star player on their high school team. Mm-hmm. So we've had that experience over the past couple of years, and we're just now coming into the place of being where we have depth on the bench. And initially we brought in 13 young ladies this fall, and that's the largest group that we have brought in. So this year it will be that challenge to deal with that. And the reality is that everybody has to understand what the role is. As much as we would love to play everybody, everybody does have a role, and only 9 or 10 players can be in the game at a time. So if you're DPing, they have to understand their role is to hit. Mm-hmm. If they're the flex, they have to understand their role is to play defense. So everybody's got to have a role, and one of the things is that we talk about is always being a champion. And it doesn't mean that to be a champion, you don't have to be on the field.
Right.
You could be a champion inside the dugout because you can be an additional coach. You could tell players, hey, this is what I saw, or they can contribute in ways. And here's the other thing. At any given moment, your number might be called. And that's where you have to have the girls mentally ready to step in, because I can tell you I've had 2 catchers over the past 2 years get hurt. Next thing I know, I'm switching a girl from outfield to catch, and that's not her primary position. Mm-hmm. And then you're having to take another girl, put her in the outfield. So, life it doesn't always come at you where it's roses. Sometimes you're going to have some rocky roads, and you got to learn through that adversity. So if you're not prepared, then you're going to be a detriment to the team. So you never know. And I think the hard part too, especially with freshmen who come in those first years, they have been a starter on a team, and all of a sudden you're not. And where the past 3 years, freshmen have come in have been contributors for the most part. Mm-hmm. And this year, I'm going to have some that will be sitting on the bench. Mm-hmm. Yet, what they have to understand is that we've got seniors that are going out.
Right.
So it's their job to be prepared so that when that senior steps out, they're stepping right in. So it's always the next one. Who's ready? Who's ready to be the one that steps in? So that could be during the season or after the season's over. You always have to prepare to be the next one.
I would think that one of the challenges a coach does have is keeping that player in the right frame of mind that is going to maybe ride the bench most of the season. But when she is called on or he is called on, you want her top game to come on the field. And if she's been sitting there pouting for 3 months and could care less about Coach Long, that's not going to help your team at all. So, and that's something I think a coach has to realize is probably one of the hardest things, trying to keep everybody happy, so to speak.
Yeah, well, if she's doing all that pouting and complaining, she might not be around at the time when her name is called. Because the reality is you have to be ready, and you have to be a good teammate. And sometimes being a good teammate means you're going to sacrifice maybe some playing time. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like I tell the young ladies, it's your job to instill the trust in me that you should be the one of the 9 or 10 that are out there. Mm-hmm. That's your job. And if I don't trust you to be the one, doesn't mean I don't believe in you. See, that's where they get a little confused sometimes. As a player, they think that the coach doesn't believe in them. No, I believe in them, and my job is to win ball games. And so I've got to put the best players out there at any given moment to win a ball game.
Right.
And so if they're not being a good teammate, it brings everybody down. We really have focused on what does it mean to be a good teammate. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is having each other's back. Because when you go to battle on the field, there's nothing worse than going out there and feeling your teammate doesn't have your back.
Right.
So we emphasize that a lot in practice. That's something a culture that we foster. If a girl commits an error between her feet in practice, or she drops a catchable ball, those are absolutes that I talk about. Catchable ball should be caught, no errors between the feet, and a ball should be thrown between the head and your feet. Now, if any of those 3 things don't happen, one of our young ladies, if they make that mistake, another teammate will drop her glove and yell out that individual's name and say, "I got your back," and they'll run a lap for them. Now, what does that create? That creates a culture of, hey, I'm here for you. Because if you make those mistakes, it's not just you that gets penalized. The whole team is going to pay a price for that. So it helps create that culture where we support each other. And what happens after that is they go, hey, you got this. You got this, keep going. And then they're going, thank you for running for me.
Yeah.
So it creates that culture where you all believe in each other and you support each other.
Really builds a family atmosphere.
That's what we want.
Looking out for each other, and that means a whole lot more than a lot of things that
I hope so. At the end of the day, I think when the girl leaves the program, I want them to say that they enjoyed the experience, whether we won the conference championship and won more games than the year before. Those things are great. But I want the experience to go, man, this was a great, I enjoyed I miss my family at the end of the day versus, those were just some good times, that kind of thing. So.
And we were talking a little bit about North Davidson, and, of course, that's where Maggie went to high school, and so did Brianna Crumley. And every year, and I've been to the covered state finals a few times, and it's always a team from at least here west that wins the state championship. And people brag about this is the softball hub of the state. Now, you coach here and you're trying to recruit here, and you said you want to keep your recruits as much local as possible. Do you find there's an overabundance of softball talent around this part of North Carolina?
There is a tremendous amount, and there's a tremendous amount in North Carolina. North Carolina is grown tremendously, especially over the past few years in softball talent. And that's a testimony to the number of girls that are going to play at different Division I schools around. And so that if that talent wasn't here, they wouldn't be recruiting them.
Right.
I mean, that's just the bottom line. And one of the things for me, though, is that I find, especially with a smaller school like ours, you've got to love a small school environment. We are an all-female institution, so, you have to, get past whatever, stigma you might have with that. And I say there's many pluses, especially when you're not getting up, a couple hours early to prep for some guy that might be in the class. Well, you ain't got to worry about that. You just get up in your sweatpants, go to class, and worry about your education. So, I mean, there's some advantages when it comes to that. But regarding the talent, there is a ton of talent. And one of the things that I want to see is that we keep more talent in the game. I'm seeing a lot of girls that are just going, hey, I'm going to go to X school and not play.
Not play.
And I'm going, this kid would be a starter on the field. and they're going just to go to school. So whether that's a burnout factor or something, I don't know. I just do know that we do have a plenty of talent, and I just want to continue to see it play on the ball field, whether it's with me or someone else. These kids, I'd love to see them keep playing, because I think that they'll regret later on that they didn't play in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I always talk about with young ladies. Don't regret that you didn't do something, because 20 years down the road, you're not getting it back. There ain't no going back to go, hey, I wish I had the opportunity to do such. Well, if you go do it and decide you don't like it, that's fine.
But it also playing at a small school like Salem, it gives these young ladies an opportunity that I may not play at Carolina, but I'm playing college ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, when they're sitting back talking to their grandkids, I was a college athlete. I played softball at Salem.
Well, here's the thing. I've said an All-American is an All-American is
Yeah.
an All-American. An all-conference player is an all-conference player. That's something that can't be taken away. We've had multiple all-conference players every year in our conference from Salem College.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been blessed with some great talent. We've been blessed with young ladies that work hard, and that the fruits of that pay off at the end of the year when you hear them. Lauren Smith, who came from West Stokes, not too far from us, and
Mm-hmm.
she's an all-conference player as a freshman. Kirsten Garner from North Stokes, who's an all-conference player. There's a number of kids. Morgan Coleman, who was with us and was an all-conference player in her first year. So Amber Bass, Kayla Kennedy, all these young ladies, North Carolina girls that have been all-conference players. The beautiful thing about that is they can tell their kids one day, I was an all-conference softball
Mm-hmm.
player in college. And you know what? The kid's not going to ask what division was that.
When you say college, it's college.
That's right.
It's big time. Now, do you ever experience any kind of a issue with the way someone has been coached, whether it's through travel ball or high school, that they don't see eye to eye what you're trying to say? Because Coach Joe always told me I had to do it this way. Is there some of that sometimes? Because you're bringing kids from a lot of programs.
I mean, they're kids that believe in a system, but and here's my approach with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
If the kid's hitting lights out, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let them keep hitting lights out.
Mm-hmm.
Go through our fundamental drills, keep working. But I'm not going to reinvent the wheel if the girl is hitting 600 and every 5 or 6 at bats hitting one out. Well, guess what? Keep doing what you're doing. I'm just telling you, you're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that same kid is batting, $125 and can't hit the ball, can't make contact, then there's an issue there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that the facts don't lie with that. So if we look at it from that standpoint and I say, okay, are you happy with where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, Coach, I could be hitting better. Okay, well, what you're doing, is it working? No, Coach, okay, you really, are you ready to try on a different pair of shoes? And that's one of the things that I do with the young ladies. I use a lot of analogies. I got all these little sayings, and the girls, it's funny when I bring in some younger kids and our girls, and I hear them repeating my sayings with those younger kids. I say, well, I guess they are listening. I feel better about it. But I tell them, ladies, when you go into a shoe store, why do you just go and grab a pair of shoes and walk out of the store? And they go, no, Coach. I said, what do you do? Well, we got to try them on. I said, why do you try them on? Well, to see if they fit. I said, exactly. I said, let's try on some new shoes here with this drill. Let's see if the shoe fits. And if it makes you a better hitter, then we've done our part, you know? And then sometimes, hey, this drill is just not working. I got to use some different verbiage, I always am looking at the next, what is possible? What can we do? What we can, I'm not going to yell at a kid and try to fit a square peg into a round hole. It just, sometimes you can devastate a kid with that. And I don't want a kid to be so, morally, and mentally bankrupt when, she's trying to succeed because she's getting beat down. Mm-hmm. I want to build a kid up. And that's one of the things that I look for in recruits. That's why it's so important to have that kid with character and willing to be coached. Because that right there, you start telling them, hey, I need you to do X. Okay, Coach. And they believe in it. They're there to get better. But, yeah, I mean, that's how I approach it. I mean, if the kid's hitting lights out, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and just, I'm just going to kind of help them out, help them through it, and support them.
See, I'm glad there are coaches like you that have ruled out the cookie cutter factor, because I feel like there are more coaches now with any sport. They're just sitting there trying to cookie cut them and see, oh, well, I have a system that works. Let me cookie cut you real quick and teach you, this is my way or the highway. And then, you see them go off and they're not successful in college.
Well, and that's a good point, because one of the things that as I evolved as a coach that I realized is that every player is unique. Every player is so different. I got one that's vocal, one that you're lucky to get 2 words out of her. So they're so different in how you approach them, what drills work for them, and what language. And one of the things that I've given up, and it's really all about ego. I don't have to be the one that has her get it. I don't have to be the one that has the light bulb go off. If it's my assistant or if it's another player, I've used other players. Hey, talk to her about this. And her hearing it from her, all of a sudden a light bulb goes off, and now she's succeeding. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. All we want to do is succeed as a team. So, I learned that it's very important, and I caught myself too as I coached. I used to coach high school football, and when I first started, I had this is the way it got to be, screaming and yelling at kids, and I fell into that stigma of what are you doing? Screaming at a kid. And what I realized is I was like, that's not me. That's not who I am as an individual. I consider myself a godly man, and I love the Lord, and I started going, hey, this is not how He wants me to coach. He wants me to teach. And I think that's important. The best coaches, I feel, are the ones that are teachers. They're not coaches. You could take a coach and manage good athletes, but that's not teaching kids. That's just managing and moving kids. So, one of the things that I'm committed to is teaching the kids, having them understand why it is that they're doing what they're doing, or what did they see, instead of just yelling at them when they come off the field. Hey, what did you see? Mm-hmm. Tell me what you saw. Well, I saw this and this, and I said, well, okay, that makes sense why you did that. Let me give you another option. Think about this. Okay, coach. And so now they're not on their heels because they feel like they messed up, and they're going. If you make a mistake, you prove one thing to me. You're a human being. Human beings are going to make a mistake.
We seem to have a common theme with softball coaches being head football coaches.
And very successful.
Yes.
But you're right. I can imagine some of your players probably laying in the dorm at night saying, did you see how he handled that? I made a complete idiot of myself, and he didn't go bonkers on it. And I learned a lesson. So they come back to you the next day, and they're going to give you even more effort, because they figure out that the man, first of all, he loves you as a human being.
Yeah.
He wants you to be successful. And so what? You made a mistake. And it really bothers me when coaches go crazy over miss a ground ball.
Don't get me wrong. I have gone crazy a couple of times.
There's not a coach allowed to have it.
But at the end of the day, I want them to know one thing, is that I do love them. I do love them, and I do care about them. That's almost more important to me. Even if I've made a mistake, that's one of the things that I've done as I've learned how to grow as a coach. Is don't be afraid to tell your players you made a mistake. Don't be afraid to tell them, hey, I'm just as human as you are. Mm-hmm. That was not cool. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, ladies, I messed that up. Mm-hmm. And I think that tells them one thing: you love them and care about them. And at the end of the day, that's why it's so emotional with these seniors, because I absolutely love and adore them.
Like your own daughters. I mean,
absolutely.
You spend 4 years.
I don't have any daughters in the area. I always tell them, you got to bring the boyfriends around before and get my approval before.
But as a coach, and you're at a Division III level, how important is athletics to what Salem College is trying to do for these young ladies, mold them to a great, future citizens and be productive? How important does athletics play in that?
Oh man, that is, I would say it is extremely important for their future career. And let me tell you why. First of all, in order for you to be a collegiate athlete, number one, you have got to manage your time. If you do not manage your time, you are going to suffer. You're going to run into issues with work. You're going to run into issues with your professors. And so when that happens, I see some hands raising. When that happens, then you have to play recovery from there. So everything is then, your life becomes about recovering from moment by moment by moment. Mm-hmm. Where if you come in, you set the structure up, set up yourself to manage your time, work with people who can help you manage that time. That's what I love about Salem. Salem is a beautiful place for the girls' success because they have all these programs in place. They have the sisterhood program. So when they come in that first year, they get a big sister who is an upperclassman, and that big sister is taking care of that young lady, helping her, and they have events set up for them to be together and help develop that young lady. What other school is going to you get a lady that is your sister, and listen, you ought to see the communications about, I love you big, I love you little, that's what they call each other. But there's systems in place. There's also places they can walk in at any time and get study help writing a paper. I mean, it's readily available right there for them because Salem wants them to succeed. So at the end of the day, you get your degree, you've been a 4-year collegiate athlete, and all of a sudden you're applying for a job. And you got a kid that's been a collegiate athlete, made good grades, been successful in the classroom, and you got just this regular kid who did their 4 years, made same kind of grades. I'm telling you, I'm taking that kid that played collegiate athletes because they had to do something special. They had to do homework on the road. They had to study at all hours at night so that they could be successful not only in the classroom but maintain themselves being on the field. Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't want that kid, there's a problem because, that's what do you want? You want a kid working for you and someone to come work for you that's going to be a dedicated team player. They already know how to work as a team. They know how to manage time, and they know how to deliver. What more could you ask for? I think it's a great thing when kids play collegiate sports, and that's why I said it's a travesty when you see these young ladies stop playing. They go to a college and say, I'm just going to go to school and just be a student, and I'm not going to play. I don't think they realize how much that could affect their career by not being a college athlete, especially when they have the talent.
Because the first thing you might ask a young lady is, why didn't you play ball in college? You were all conference in high school. Well, I get tired of it. Oh, so you give up on things. Mm-hmm. Oh, so why would I hire you if you're going to give up on a challenge I throw at you?
Absolutely.
They don't realize at these young ages how all this stuff is going to follow them the rest of their lives.
I've always told them, don't have regrets, really. I said, I tell the girls all the time, I tell these young ladies, I said, there's 3 things that once they're gone, you never get back. Number 1 is time. Once time is gone, it's gone. You and I would love to go back 20 years and maybe
40.
Look at it. Okay, I was just saying 20. But time, you can't get it back. And then I said, and your words, you can't get them back. Once you say your words, they're out there. Whether that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or speaking them. Just ask Paula Dean. She'd love to hear, get some words back. Mm-hmm. But it affects your life, whether that's down the road or not. You can't get it back. And then the third one's opportunities. And these girls give up on opportunities to play ball. And you can't get it back. 20 years down the road, you're wishing you had played. You can't go back 20 years and play softball. All you can do is think about it and dream about it and talk about it. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But here's the moment. And that's what I tell them. Don't have a regret. If you go do it, and you decide after a year or two, I've had my fill, that's fine. At the end of the day, you can say I played college softball or I played college soccer, college basketball, whatever it is, baseball. You can say you did it.
Now, you've coached both boys and girls in sports. I always ask coaches that have done that. And most of them have the exact same answer.
I think this is going to be the exact same answer, too.
I mean, you said you coached football. I mean, they're getting rougher than that. But then you take these delicate young ladies that all have a lot of emotions and very sensitive. How did you transition? How does that work?
Well, I started coaching softball at Enloe High School, and back in Raleigh, and I was coaching football at the time. And I was coaching baseball, and I went, I have a lovely wife that I've been married to for 20 years, and she's the love of my life, and we have twin boys. So when the boys were born, she asked me, to just coach one sport, and so I kind of bounced back and forth from baseball and then eventually landed in football. And I get this call from the administrator and the AD coming in, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to ask a favor of you." I said, "Oh Lord, what in the world?" And so they come in and said, "We don't have a JV softball coach." And I said, "Y'all have lost your mind. I am not going to coach girls. You got to be out of your mind." I said, there's got to be somebody else. And they had all the right verbiage and asked me to think about it. And they were, I think there was 1 week before tryouts. I went and I coached that team, and it was one of the greatest coaching experiences I ever had in my life. That JV team, they won more games than they had in the existence of them being in the conference in that 1 year. In the existence. And it was all because those young ladies were just willing to listen. And I think that's what I learned. With some of the female players, you don't have to prove to them why they need to do it. They just believe in you. Mm-hmm. They believe in you. As long as they know you're committed to them, they believe in you. If they don't believe you're committed to them, they're not. They're not going to buy into it. Guys, you got to prove it to them. It's all about, hey, you got to show it on the videotape because, Coach, I am doing it. No, you're not doing it. That's not the way it. No, Coach, I know I'm doing it right. No. Hey, somebody bring the camera over here. And you'll videotape it, and then you show it back to them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, Coach, you're right. And then, that's when you start to foster some of those enhancements with male players. But there's a beauty for both of them. With female coaches, when you coach a females, you see light bulbs go off. And I love those light bulb moments where it's like, aha, I got it, Coach. And I love seeing that. With guys, when they get it, it's like, they're patting the chest and, this is what it is.
He did it on his own.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they do know Coach, created a pathway for that. Mm-hmm. But I've learned that female players have to feel good to play good. Male players need to play good to feel good. And I think if you understand that and you understand that role and how to approach it with those players, then you will get the most out of those young players. But at the end of the day, I don't care if you're male or female, they got to know that you're committed and you care for them. If they get that, they'll run through a wall for you. I've experienced. My first year, it was brutal for me when I coached football. I was trying to be that hardcore rah-rah back when I was playing ball, and this is what it looks like. It did not work. It just wasn't me. And once I started teaching and started, putting my arms around the guys, hey, let me tell you something. You got what it takes, and they believe it, and they'll do whatever for you. It doesn't matter which.
What changes have you seen in athletes, even at the high school level, over the years? Because, way back, there was no travel teams, there were no showcases. I mean, and a lot of times kids played 3 or 4 sports in a high school season, and they weren't put on a pedestal by their parents. They weren't destined to be All-American at Carolina or anything. But today, and I've talked to a lot of high school coaches, and what they always bring up is there's too many distractions away from athletic activity for kids now. A kid he may come to practice and he'll play in the game, but he spends all his life in front of a computer playing some kind of a game. There's no physical activity. And I think a lot of them, they are put on such a high level of, they've been told that they're the greatest. Do you ever have, as your football coaching days, you ever see kids that have to be kind of knocked down in reality that, you're not really a Heisman Trophy candidate?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I learned and the way I want to coach and the way I want my team to play is I want them to play with a playground mentality. So when you played those backyard games, you just made plays. And nobody argued about how you did it, how the footwork was, or did you get the out or did you not? Did you make the hit or did you not? I mean, It's playground mentality. You were out there playing, and, man, you wanted to beat your buddy. You know, it won't no letting your buddy beat you in your backyard. You know what I'm saying?
That's why wiffle ball is the best sport ever.
But here's what's lost. As I remember saying that to this group of young ladies, I want you to play with a playground mentality. And there's this blank stare looking at me. And I'm going, they have no idea what a playground mentality is.
Right.
Like you said, playing wiffle ball in the backyard. I can't tell you the number of windows that I busted out and got a whooping for, you know. But it's being out in the backyard in an apartment complex and hitting balls and having a playground mentality. So, you know, I've had girls come in, Coach, was my footwork right? And I said, did you get the out? Yeah, it was great. That's all that matters. Get the out. Get the out. Make the play. Understand, you know, just know what needs to happen. Make it happen. That's what you did when you were in the backyard, you know.
And see, when I was a long time ago, again, much younger, we played neighborhood ball games all the time. There was no coaches. There were no umpires.
No umpires.
We played our hearts out. And we made probably some miraculous plays that were never even seen again. But, you know, it was a love for the game is why you played it. We'd walk 10 miles to do a neighborhood ball game to get someone and just have a great time at it.
Well, so getting at why are we in that position? As much as I would love to say, hey, let's play with a playground mentality, and our girls go, oh, yeah. We're at that position because you're right. There is a ton of other things in their life, and so many. I grew up with a rotary phone with the little cool cord hanging off of it, right? And now these kids are walking around with basically a computer in their pocket with all kinds of communication. I mean, you know, let's look at technology tonight. We're streaming the broadcast, you know, for anybody all over the country who wants to listen to that. I mean, that was unheard of, 20-some years ago. So there's so many other things that they can do. The other part about that is I think there were travel teams back then, but there wasn't that many. Mm-hmm. So you might have had, you know, a good showcase showed up with 10 teams. But them teams were strong 10 teams that were about ready to battle.
Yeah, they were. I will piggyback off of that. You take like Under Armour Team 1. You know, they have a showcase team that goes all over the country and showcases their talent. You know, I used to get a flyer from them every year. They had, you know, what are now professional baseball players, you know, like Miguel Cabrera, Mike Trout, all the big names were on this team. Mm-hmm. And you look back at that, you know, that's the difference between back then and now. Now you can say, hey, I want to play travel baseball or travel softball, and you can get on a team and go play showcases everywhere. And
that's I think some of the you know, you were talking about a kid in the entitled. I think that's what happens when you have a young lady who might not be the best on that team. So, you know, a parent might say, well, I'm going to go start my own team and make her the star. Well, here's the thing. As a coach looking at that doesn't always help that young lady, because if you surround that young lady with lesser talent and all of a sudden that team's getting clobbered, I'm not going to hang around and watch that team get beat by 18 runs. I'm going to go somewhere else where I can see a competitive team. Now, that young lady has just lost out on the opportunity to be recruited because she's on that team. I've always said, you know, one of the things, I also have an elite travel team that I coach as well. And one of the things that I want a young lady, she's a good ball player. But when she comes on, she realizes I'm not the best player here. And when they come on like that, it brings more out of them. I think it challenges a young lady. I think it's important. I've always had a saying, iron sharpens iron. You want to play the best and beat the best. If you're not going up against the best, why are you playing? I'm serious. That's like when I schedule our games, everybody's like, you know, you could schedule softer games. I don't want to. Look, if we're going to win, I want to beat the best. I don't want to, you know, we might take a licking from somebody, but our girls are going to learn what it takes to beat the best. Because if you don't ever do it, you'll never do it. You'll never be around that if you don't play the best competition. So
I think it's interesting you bring up what we call daddy ball. The last couple of years, I've had at least 3 different individuals contact me as sports media, wanting to know if I would help them start a softball travel league. And I said, well, why? Well, my daughter wants to pitch. I said, oh, so there's no other team in the country she can pitch for? Well, she played for so-and-so. He didn't like her. She played for so-and-so, and they wouldn't let her pitch. So we're going to start a league. I said, I don't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you said, you're going to take your daughter, and you're going to take away all of her opportunities, and she's not going to enjoy softball very much longer because as long as Daddy's there, she's on the field.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of players, I think, get ruined that way. And I cover a lot of youth sports, everything from quarter midget racing to football, and I see so many times a young person is turned off on that particular sport by the adults in the crowd.
Well, and I think that also speaks to the burnout factor.
Mm-hmm.
When, say you've been in that position, your team is losing, you're maybe the best player on that team. You know what? At the end of that season, you're about ready for it to be over. And that's where I think we lose kids. I think we lose a young lady that could play at the next level, but she's so tired of it that she's ready to, I just want to go to school. Mm-hmm. And some of that, I think there's a correlation there when that happens. I've always, especially when I talk to the younger kids who are wanting to come up and at camps and, okay, how many of you want to play in college? And they'll raise their hand. Okay, so if I asked you for all of next week to do, something very strenuous, I said, how many are up for doing that? And about half of them raised their hand. Well, what I just found out is that half of them really don't want to play college ball. Mm-hmm. It's a pipe dream. It's a hope. It's that would be nice. But there is a sacrifice. There is something that you've got to do to be able to play at that level. And I think young ladies say that because that's the thing to say, yet their actions are completely against that. And I always point that out. I'm a believer. Rocks are hard, water's wet. It is what it is. You either are willing to do it or you're not willing to do it. If you're willing to do it, come on, let's work. If you're not, find something that works for you. It might be playing just some fun rec leagues, mm-hmm. but don't go taking somebody's spot at these showcase tournaments. I mean, I've gone and the level of some of the teams, I've gone, they don't need to be out here. I really, firmly believe that.
I tell you one sacrifice that you were talking about, these girls are going to have to sacrifice. One big sacrifice is sleep. So you have to sacrifice your sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can speak from experience.
You learned that at Winston-Salem State, didn't you?
Waking up at 5:30 every morning to hit the gym and then not going to bed until probably about 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
But see, I can understand the getting up at 5, but it was your decision to stay up till 11:30 or 12 or 1 or 2.
Yeah, it was.
Right. So there we get back to that, budgeting your time,
True.
Growing up,
True.
Putting your priorities in the right order. Then you go to bed at 9 o'clock and you get up at 4:30 and you go out. But young athletes don't always do that.
Well, and I think what it takes is putting their perspective in place. This is what I tell every recruit that I recruit. Number one, I'm not selling you a used car. I don't want you to come here because I sold you this bill of goods that you go, oh, I got to have it.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing for me is you come here and you get a degree. That's why you're here, is to get an education. The education is the cake. Softball is going to be the icing on that cake. That's going to be the sweetness on it, and I really want to emphasize that because if I put their priorities straight, dude, you're here to get educated, and get your work done, be in the classroom, manage yourself. Mm-hmm. And Maggie put it very well earlier. If you can't get your work done, there's something that's not right. You've got time to get it done, but it takes management of that time and working on that. That's important. But I want softball to be fun. Gosh, we're on the field. What other place would you rather be?
You know what, Mr. Long, our time has come and gone, and I've had a few guests like you that we could sit here all night
and just keep talking. I love it
because I really enjoy what I call genuine people, and I can tell you love what you do, and I can tell you care about your athletes, and softball. And you put all that together, and I think you're in the right place.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it, and thank you for the invitation to be a part of the program. It's been a privilege, and I got some good food to boot tonight.
And we're gonna be bothering you all spring long at the softball field. We have broadcasting, and
I love it.
We're looking forward. We kind of got introduced to Salem College, and it's kind of snowballed, and we just enjoy. I'm retired. I just do this for fun, and this young man comes along and helps out. And,
he's the one who signs my paycheck. So
at least somebody's signing them. That's all that matters.
But I do want to wish you success this season.
Thank you, sir.
And it's going to be fun for me to watch a lot of young ladies that I saw in high school. A couple of them, North Davidson. Really.
I recommend everybody come out. It's going to be an exciting year. We have our seniors, Kayla Kennedy and Amber Bass, and our junior, Kirsten Garner, and all of them are North Carolina girls. We brought in 13, Bree Crumley from North Davidson, Maggie Fritz.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some great young ladies that have joined this program, and I'm super excited about what we're going to do. We've got a couple of local girls. Brittany Peterson came from Calvary,
Calvary,
and Jennifer Vitarelli. She's from Guilford County. So we've got some athletes, and I'm excited. If Coach doesn't mess it up, we should be all right. I hope.
Well, we're looking forward to taking in some of the games, and like I said, broadcasting hopefully all your home games. We're excited about that. Look forward to some great softball. You can't beat a good softball game.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great entertainment. And I was telling people too, Salem College athletics is almost a secret in Winston-Salem.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
And when I got introduced to it, I thought, wow, not only are these a bunch of classy young ladies, but there's some great athletes in all your sports.
Mm-hmm.
Your coaches are great, administration's great, and I'm thinking, wow, I enjoy spending time on your campus.
Well, we thank you for your support. I mean, it's a big deal to have someone in the community, because I think that's important, because that's who we are. We're
right.
a community that is building, number one. But number two, it's only going to get better with folks like yourself that are coming out and supporting us. So we appreciate all your support and broadcasting our games. I think it's going to be an exciting year.
Well, we look forward to it. And again, thank you for coming down
Yes, sir.
here and bringing your lovely wife with you, who does not get on the microphone, I guess.
That's right.
Now, does she ever coach anything? Well, she coaches you, I suppose.
She coaches me, right? She keeps me in track, and as long as she does that, she's that's the toughest coaching job that's out there, is being a coach's wife. She is a true coach's wife. She sacrifices a whole lot for me to do what I love to do, and I'm always grateful.
Well, again, thank you, and we wish you a lot of success on the softball field. We're anxiously awaiting starting the softball season. It's going to be cold the first few games, but
it will be.
We'll
bundle up. We'll be all right.
About a month.
About a month.
About a month.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back and wrap things up. But again, Coach Long, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much
Thank
for
you.
coming down. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Enjoyed it.
Look forward to a great season of softball.
Thank you, sir.
That was Coach Scott Long from the Salem Spirit, Salem College, in beautiful downtown Winston-Salem, home of Bibbs Barbecue, where the barbecue is not Eastern.
Nor Western.
But the bestest.
There you go. We got him trained in one show.
There we go.
He's the easiest one we've done so far. So let's go to a short break. We'll come back and do a wrap-up and call it a night.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site, or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
And we are back here at Bibbs Downtown.
Sports coverage.
Sports coverage talk, whatever you want to call it.
Sports coverage, sports talk on transport. This is it's the end of the year. It's the holiday season. And we are trying to put together a Christmas show, but we haven't been able to. The man in the red suit is... Did you know he's busy this time of year?
I had no clue.
See, last year when I called him...
Last year he was in jail, wasn't he?
Well, he was upset at some of the race car drivers for some of the childish things they were doing. And I remember he came down here because the police brought him in, remember? Mm-hmm. I thought it was you coming in late from the show with handcuffs, but it was Santa Claus. And we're trying to make arrangements to do something like that this year, folks. So stay tuned to the website, triadsportscoverage.com. We will be able to notify you on that website as to what our plans are going to be. We do have some basketball games toward the end of this week. The schedule is on the website. So for Donnie Baldridge, I got it right tonight, Ellen Richardson, and Alec Hodges, this is Mike Petaway saying so long.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition of Sports Talk on Triad Sports Coverage. For more great podcasts, check out the media page on triadsportscoverage.com.